Divine lunar activations on September 27th to 28th. 3 miraculous signs to confirm your sacred calling. In the quaint village of Elderwood, the air buzzed with anticipation. Whispers of the lunar activation on September 27th to 28th echoed through the church and down cobbled streets. Sarah, a devoted parishioner, felt it too, an electrifying presence wrapping around her heart. The lunar eclipse was more than a celestial event. It was a divine blessing waiting to unfold. People claimed it would bring clarity, hope, and healing. As Sarah prepared for the sacred nights, her heart raced with expectancy. Would this be the moment when doubts shattered and faith was renewed? Despite years of unwavering sacrifice for her family's well-being, a cloud of uncertainty loomed over her. The village's spirituality waned like the dimming daylight before the eclipse, and she could feel it creeping into her soul, leaving her restless. One gently falling night, beneath starlit skies, the elderly Pastor Thomas led a prayer gathering. His gentle wisdom stirred something deep within Sarah. God speaks through the unforeseen, he said, voice trembling with fervor. As he prayed, she felt the room charge with energy. A gust of wind swirled through the sanctuary, carrying whispers of something otherworldly. A hush fell over the faithful, only to be pierced by Pastor Thomas declaring a prophetic word. The gates of heaven will open for those who believe. Hope flickered in Sarah's chest, but skepticism crept in like shadows among the villagers. Was it merely their desire for divine proof that allowed them to cling to such hopes? Just days later, as the first night of the lunar activation began, a miracle unfolded. Sarah's young cousin, Timothy, who had battled a cruel illness for years, suddenly gasped and stood upright. The color flooded back into his cheeks, vibrant and alive, as cheers erupted from bewildered witnesses. "He has healed," they cried, a glorious chorus rising like incense to the heavens. News flew through Elderwood like fire on dry grass. Suddenly, villagers flocked to the sanctuary, drawn by the promise of miracles. But with the miracles came doubt. Critics murmured quietly, questions swirling around like fallen leaves in autumn winds. Some said it was merely luck or an exaggerated tale. Sarah felt the isolated weight of faith, the longing for reassurance dancing on the edge of her heart, pushing her to pray fervently, drawing solace from St. Jude, the patron saint of hopeless cases. As she struggled against disbelief from loved ones, doubt threatened to consume her. In a bold yet ultimately dismissed attempt to rally the village, she invited all for a grand prayer rally. Few showed, leaving her feeling wounded and alone. Then came the final night, a celestial veil drawn across the sky. Just after midnight, as Sarah kneeled in silent prayer, a radiant light burst through the windows, illuminating the church. The atmosphere thickened with holy presence, unveiling 3 miraculous signs, each glowing in ethereal brilliance. Hope surged through the room, igniting faith anew among the villagers. Gasps filled the air, their hearts trembling in awe. But even in that moment of divine clarity, questions loomed heavy. This was more than just their revival. It spoke of a purpose that none could yet comprehend. What did this divine activation signify for Sarah, for Elderwood? What plans unfurled in the heart of heaven, waiting to challenge them all? As the moon hung high and bright, Sarah felt the weight of destiny pressing against her, urging her to seek and discover the answers that lay hidden just beyond the horizon. The moon shone brightly in the velvety night sky, casting a silvery glow over Elderwood. The village was a canvas of shadows and light, each corner whispering stories of faith and renewal. As Sarah emerged from the sanctuary, the air buzzed not only with wonder, but also with uncertainty. Her heart felt as if it was caught between realms, the palpable push of divine connection and the heavy weight of lingering doubt from some villagers. Outside, lanterns flickered in the gentle breeze, illuminating faces filled with awe and anticipation. People huddled in clusters, sharing their experiences, their whispers painting a tapestry of hope and skepticism that filled the still air. Sarah could see the twinkle of hope in their eyes, even though a few wore masks of disbelief. "Have you seen what the moon has done?" A voice called, light and curious. "Is this truly a miracle, or is it just a trick of light?" "Faith is sometimes a mystery. I assent it," Sarah replied softly, her voice barely a murmur over the hum of conversation. Yet deep inside, she knew it was not just about the shimmering lunar phenomenon. It was the resurgence of belief, the awakening of their spirits that mattered most. As she walked through the village, she could feel the anxious energy that wrapped around her like a shawl. The signs were potent, but the effects on the villagers were different. Timothy's healing ignited sparkles of faith in many, while for others, it brewed suspicion. Returning to her humble home, she took a moment to breathe, letting the realization sink into her heart. Wonder filled the spaces of doubt, but it was a delicate balance. She climbed the stairs to her room, where the moonlight flooded through her window, encasing her in an ethereal glow. Kneeling by her bedside, her heart cried out to God. "Lord, grant me understanding. What is this purpose? What do you wish for me to do?" Hours passed in prayer. Each word fell heavy with earnestness, mixing fear and longing. Suddenly, the room grew still. The flickering candlelight danced, and within that sacred space, Sarah felt a gentle presence that filled her with warmth. A whisper echoed through the air, "Follow the light. Seek within, but destiny awaits." Stunned but comforted, Sarah felt a shift within her. The blanket of doubt began to unravel, and a sense of direction opened like a flower toward the sun. Could she be the beacon for those clinging to uncertainty? As dawn approached, villagers began gathering again at the sanctuary, drawn to the promise of more divine revelations. This time, the energy felt different, charged with the pulse of hope, urging them toward unity. Pastor Thomas's voice rang clear amidst the excited murmur. "Together, we can search for the divine purpose laid before us." But would they unite under a singular vision? As Sarah joined their ranks, the words of the pastor washed over her, urging them to see the harmony through their very beliefs. What lay ahead was not just about one heart, but about an entire village discovering its sacred calling. With this newfound clarity flickering within her, Sarah stepped forward, sensing her role in this unfolding story. "What if we hold fast to our faith?" she proposed boldly, surprising even herself. "What if we come together, allowing the moon's blessings to guide us?" Gasps arose, but questions crowded the air. Were they ready for a journey that would bind them together through trials and triumphs? With the vibrant dawn painting the sky, the sound of the church bells chimed, setting the stage for what lay ahead. Could Sarah's vision rally the village of Elderwood? And what beauty lay in store for those willing to believe? The answer seemed just beyond the horizon, waiting to illuminate their path as the new day dawned. The sun broke over Elderwood, casting golden rays that kissed the earth awake, illuminating not just the landscape, but the hearts of those gathered in the sanctuary. Sarah felt the warmth of the morning, igniting something new within her. It was as if the very air crackled with possibility, urging everyone to lean into the sacred conversation unfolding. As the congregation filled the pews, anticipation swelled. Pastor Thomas stood before them, a figure of steadfast hope. "Brothers and sisters," he began, his voice a soothing balm, "the moon has opened our eyes, but it is we who must open our hearts. Are we willing to embrace this divine spark?" "Aye," the villagers responded, their voices rising, echoing off the sanctuary walls. Sarah watched as the faces transformed, doubt melting away like morning mist under the sun's familiar embrace. Each person seemed to awaken to a deeper truth, fueled by shared belief. She felt a kinship with them, woven together in a tapestry of hope. Yet, lingering questions remained in her heart. Could unity sustain them? Would they truly commit to following the paths laid before them? Pastor Thomas continued, recounting stories of ancient faith and miraculous signs. His words spun threads of inspiration, reminding them of the miracles in their midst. Timothy's healing was just one among many stories. Miracles are not confined to the past. They are here now. The divine is working among us, and each of you holds a piece of that wonder. A ripple of murmurs surged through the crowd, eyes sparkling with newfound faith. Then came the challenge, so gentle yet fierce. But we must ask ourselves, friends, do we wish merely to witness miracles, or do we want to be vessels of them? Are we willing to step boldly into what God has for us? In that moment, Sarah felt her spirit surge. We could be more than just spectators. She called out, her voice firm and clear, capturing the congregation's gaze. Let us not only bask in what we've seen, let us allow it to move us. What about those in our village who have lost hope? What if we reach out hand in hand, spreading love and belief, showing them the brightness that surrounds? A hush fell over the sanctuary as her words sank in, souls igniting with the intention of action. Sarah could see the flickering flames of faith building, questioning those in the depths of doubt. She knew their journey would not be easy. It would take courage and a commitment that might challenge their resolve. From deep within the group, one elder rose, speaking with wisdom etched from years of experience. The light we see in the moon's reflection shows us our true selves. We are called to reflect that love, to grow into it and share it. The elder's age and spirit seemed to resonate through all hearts present, urging them to recognize the divine potential lying within. With encouragement boosting their spirits, Pastor Thomas led them in prayer, an anthem of devotion resonating from each heart. Together, they sought clarity in their purpose, each soul entwined in a collective journey. The atmosphere thickened, filled with an almost tangible grace, as their voices soared toward the heavens. But as the fervor rose, Sarah felt a pull at her heart. What if there were obstacles ahead? Were they ready to face the storms that might challenge their faith? The thought nagged at her, a whisper of doubt that settled like a shadow. Yet, she also felt the moon's light resonating within her, urging her to believe in the impossible. With newfound determination, Sarah declared, "Let us embark on this journey together, fearless and unwavering. The time is now. Let us follow the moon's call and embrace the beautiful unknown." Cheers erupted, but the weight of her words lingered. They were igniting a path that would require greater faith and resilience than ever before. As they poured out into the sunlight, ready to act upon their convictions, a feeling swept over Sarah. The promise of transformation mingled with an uncertainty that sparked both excitement and trepidation. What awaited them on this sacred journey? What trials might test their unity? The heart of Elderwood pulsed with anticipation, ready to embrace whatever the divine had planned. As Sarah stepped outside the sanctuary, the sun's rays enveloped her like a warm embrace, infusing her with a burst of energy. She looked around at the villagers, faces glowing with the afterglow of their shared commitment. Each smile felt like a thread, weaving them closer together, yet an undercurrent of anxiety tugged at her heart. Where shall we begin? Someone called from the back. It was Mark, a young man full of enthusiasm but lacking direction. The question hung in the air, and Sarah sensed a moment of decision was upon them. Timothy, celebrating his renewed strength after months of ailment, raised his hands. What if we start with the children? They are the future, the heart of our community. Let us organize a gathering where we can teach them about love, compassion, and faith. A chorus of agreement arose, filling the space with eager possibilities. Sarah felt a spark of joy. This was the essence of unity, taking small steps that could yield great change. It felt right, but a deeper question bubbled within her. But how do we share this love? How do we make our actions reflect the faith we now feel? Pastor Thomas stepped forward, his presence a grounding force amidst the excitement. Let each action be a prayer, he urged. Every smile, every kind word can point back to the divine. Let us gather what we have and bring it forth as a gift: our time, our skills, our love. As they brainstormed, Sarah joined Timothy at the table set up for their meeting. "What'll it take?" she murmured, her eyes bright yet pensive. "What if those we reach out to don't believe? What if we face rejection?" Timothy leaned in, his confidence glowing like embers. "Every great change has faced doubt. Remember, faith is the bridge we build with our actions. We want to know if we don't step out." Sarah's heart swelled with admiration. His words resonated deeply. If they stood united, committed to sharing God's love, surely the love would shine through despite the obstacles. The plan began to take shape, with ideas flowing like rivers. They would create a day of celebration, inviting every villager to come together. There would be food, games, prayers, and most importantly, discussions about their faith and love for one another. Meanwhile, whispers of doubt fluttered in Sarah's mind. Would it be enough? Would their enthusiasm wane before they could make a real impact? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the horizon with hues of orange and pink, she proposed a moment of silence to center their thoughts and invite divine guidance. As the group fell silent, the world around them hushed. The gentle rustle of leaves seemed to amplify the serenity, and for a moment, it felt as if the universe held its breath. In that stillness, Sarah felt a presence wash over her, an affirmation that they were on the right path, led by something greater than themselves. With hearts warmed and spirits rejuvenated, they resumed their planning. The villagers signed up, forming committees for different aspects of the event. Sarah felt the excitement mounting, yet she still sensed an ambiguous force looming on the horizon, a whisper of warning just barely noticeable beneath the surface of her joy. As they concluded their meeting, Sarah's heart fluttered with hope mixed with unease. What challenges lay ahead as they sought to step into their divine calling? Would the community embrace their outreach, or would fear and doubt rear their heads once more? The whole of Elderwood buzzed with the energy of their plans, but will they hold firm when the storm comes? Only time would tell what miracles awaited them. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow across the village of Elderwood, Sarah felt an electric anticipation in the air. The excitement that coursed through her often battled with the subtle fears lurking in the shadows of her mind. Each face that surrounded her radiated hope, yet a flicker of uncertainty remained within her heart. The next day, she and the villagers were to begin their outreach, focused on the children, the tender hearts that would carry the seeds of change. As night crept in, Sarah prayed fervently, seeking clarity and courage. She whispered a simple plea: "Lord, guide us in our efforts. Let our hearts be filled with love that dispels fear." Morning dawned, unveiling a bright sky, bursting with promise. In the village square, laughter rang out as children gathered, their spirits untainted and full of potential. Sarah watched as Timothy dashed to engage the young ones in playful games. It reminded her that childlike faith could shatter the barriers they so often built. With her heart full, she approached the gathering of children. "Who knows what it means to love?" she asked, her voice carrying warmth. Little hands shot up, eager to share their thoughts. "To be kind," shouted a small voice. "To help others," exclaimed another. She smiled, moved by their pure interpretations. It was the simplicity of their answers that spoke volumes. Yes, love is about kindness and helping each other, just as we want to show our love today, she replied, her spirit soaring. As festivities unfolded, tables adorned with colorful decorations welcomed villagers. They shared stories, laughter, and prayers. The atmosphere brimmed with a sacred energy. Angels seemed to hover nearby, guiding every interaction. But just as the warmth enveloped them, Sarah felt a chill wash over her. A group of elderly villagers, their faces etched with doubt, watched from a distance. Their presence pulled her thoughts back to her earlier fears about acceptance. What if they see us as foolish? She pondered silently. The laughter around her dimmed for a moment. When she turned to Timothy, he noticed her furrowed brow. "What's on your mind, Sarah?" he asked. In a hushed tone, she admitted, "Some fear we will disrupt what has always been. What if this isn't enough?" Timothy paused, contemplating her words, then spoke with conviction. Our purpose is not to change traditions, but to breathe new life into them. Our faith is not meant to be hidden, but shared like a candle in the darkness. Sarah felt a flicker of resolve spark within her, igniting her faith. His words were like a balm to her anxious heart. Together, they stepped toward the elderly group, determination guiding their steps. "Hello," Timothy greeted, his voice steady. "We're here to share love and joy with all of Elderwood. Would you join us?" At first, the elderly villagers exchanged glances filled with guarded skepticism. But gradually, the warmth radiating from their expressions began to soften like the first light of dawn breaking through a cold night. One of them, a gentle lady named Margaret, stepped forward. "We've seen many changes come and go, dear ones," she said thoughtfully. "But we need to understand your hearts behind this celebration." Her simple request sent waves of realization through Sarah. It wasn't just about the event. It was about building bridges and placing roots that connected the past with the future. As they talked, the initial reluctance melted away. Together, something profound began to unfold, a vision where the old and new could dance together in harmony, like the breezes that intertwined across the fields. Just then, a sudden hush fell upon the crowd as a breathtaking light flickered above them, the sun bursting through the clouds like a divine affirmation. Gasps rippled through the gathering, and eyes widened in awe. "What just happened?" whispered Sarah, her heart racing as she felt the weight of this moment. The mysterious light lingered like an invitation from the heavens, leaving everyone with a sense of expectancy. Could it be a sign of divine approval? Would this event blossom into something wondrous? With hearts unified in their pursuit and a newfound openness ignited, they returned to the festivities with renewed spirit. Sarah wondered, what more could God reveal as they continue their journey? Would this day mark the beginning of something truly miraculous, or would doubts from the past rise again? Only time would lead them further. The laughter and chatter of the gathering swelled once more, filling the air as if the very atmosphere had transformed with answered prayers. Sarah felt a surge of warmth inside her, a deep-rooted sense that this was more than just a celebration. It was a moment birthed from stirring hearts united under a common grace. As she and Timothy mingled with families, the joy grew. Sarah observed the children's faces aglow with laughter, their innocence weaving through the hearts of the adults like strands of gold. Each joyful scream, every shared story ignited laughter, creating an electrifying thread of connection. Yet, amidst this jubilation, the flicker of doubt still tapped softly at Sarah's heart. She cast a glance toward the horizon, where the sun met the earth in a kaleidoscope of colors. "Heavenly Father," she breathed, "please let these moments bring forth a change that resonates deep within us all." Timothy brushed against her arm, breaking her reverie. "Hey, take a look at the old oak tree," he said, nodding toward the ancient tree that had stood witness to generations. Children were gathering at its roots, their giggles cascading like water. They climbed and swung on its branches, as if the mighty guardian itself was embracing them. "Look at them. They find joy in the familiar." "Isn't that just beautiful?" Timothy remarked, his eyes sparkling. "Yes," Sarah replied, a smile creeping across her lips. "It reminds me that our roots are vital, but new growth is equally important." As the afternoon waned and twilight illuminated the square in shades of lavender and gold, Margaret approached Sarah once more, her gaze contemplative but warm. "You've stirred something within us, dear." As I watched, I felt a peace something I hadn't felt in a long time. Sarah's heart lightened. "What do you mean?" "Perhaps our traditions have held too tightly to the past. Your gathering shows a way to bridge generations. It's not about tearing down what we've built, but perhaps adding on to it," Margaret mused, her voice infused with newfound hope. With this, the village was not merely celebrating. They were healing. Just then, the sky shifted, and it seemed as if a collective breath was taken. The light from the setting sun poured over them, casting a golden hue that danced across their faces. In that moment, Sarah sensed a divine presence among them, like a whisper that softly assured them they were on the path to something extraordinary. Suddenly, a breathless whisper arose from a young boy nearby, pointing skyward. "Look, it's a rainbow!" Gasps of wonder rippled through the gathering again, turning every gaze upward. Awestruck, Sarah watched as a delicate arch of colors burst forth from the clouds like a promise manifesting. Tears sprung to her eyes as she felt an overwhelming tide of validation wash over her. It was a reminder of God's faithfulness, a covenant displayed not just to individuals, but to the entire community. Margaret turned to the crowd, her voice carrying a tone of conviction. "Let this rainbow remind us of the promise that God gives. Our past is safe, but our future is bright with hope." The cheer that erupted was deafening. In this sacred moment, barriers crumbled and hearts connected as they embraced the divine gift in front of them. But the joy was bittersweet for Sarah, ignited with curiosity. What do these signs truly mean? How would this renewed energy manifest in their lives? As she pondered over the unfolding moment, Sarah realized they were on the threshold of a new journey, one with more divine surprises waiting just around the bend. What greater revelation would emerge from the heavens? Would they be ready to embrace it fully? It felt as if the very fabric of their lives was being rewoven. And then she heard it, a faint whisper among the gathered. What happens next? With the rainbow arching brilliantly overhead, a hush fell over the crowd, transforming laughter into a sacred stillness. Sarah felt the weight of expectation in the air. It was as though every heart was attuned to a divine frequency, waiting to catch the next note of this holy melody. She closed her eyes for a brief moment, allowing the gentle breeze to wash over her, embracing the serenity of the evening. Timothy's voice broke the stillness, barely above a whisper. "Do you feel that, Sarah? It's like the air is alive, buzzing." His eyes were wide, sparkling with wonder as he pointed towards the horizon where the sun bid farewell, casting an ethereal glow. "Yes," Sarah breathed. "It's as if God is inviting us into a deeper understanding of his promises." She turned her gaze back to the gathering, and the joyful faces lit in the twilight seemed to radiate warmth. In the distance, she could hear the soft strumming of a guitar, an invitation for unity through song. One by one, families began to join together, instinctively forming a circle at the base of the old oak tree. It was as if the tree, with its deep-rooted wisdom, was beckoning them closer. Margaret stepped into the circle, her presence commanding yet kind. "Let us sing praises. Let our voices be an offering, our fears transformed into faith." As the first notes rang out, a wave of harmony enveloped the gathering. Sarah's heart swelled. Every note felt like a prayer rising to the heavens. They sang not only of joy but of hopes and dreams, weaving together their stories in a tapestry of faith. With every song, the collective spirit flourished, flickering like candles in the twilight. But amid the songs, shadows of doubt threatened to creep back into Sarah's heart. What if this moment was fleeting? She scanned the crowd, worried expressions flickering across the faces of those who had held tightly to yesterday's hurts. She hoped that the beauty they felt wouldn't fade with twilight. As if reading her thoughts, Timothy slipped his hand into hers, grounding her. "Look at them, Sarah," he said softly. "They're leaning into this moment. Healing takes time, and today is part of that journey." Sarah nodded, his words illuminating the path ahead like lantern light in the darkest of nights. Just then, a stirring arose among the crowd as an elderly man stepped forward. His frame was stooped with age, yet his eyes sparkled with the brightness of youthful spirit. "I haven't felt such hope in years," he declared, voice steady. "This gathering has lifted the burdens from my heart. If we share our struggles, perhaps we can step together into tomorrow, hand in hand." Cheers erupted, and an air of expectancy filled the circle. It was evident. The people were yearning for something more than celebration. They were seeking transformation. After the song, a fable shared at sunset brought forth new hope. Once, there was a traveler who found a path blocked by a great stone the elderly man began. He could have turned back, but instead, he decided to carve a pathway around it. Each step he took revealed new landscapes, undiscovered treasures hidden beyond the boulder. A collective pause filled the air. It echoed the exact yearning of their souls. What stones had they been facing? How could they carve paths for growth in their own lives? As the evening deepened and the stars blinked to life above them, Sarah could feel the shifts. Prayers that had once felt unheard now seemed to linger in the atmosphere, vibrantly resonating with every heartbeat. Tomorrow holds the promise of revelation, she whispered, feeling a sense of urgency pressing on her spirit. What awaited them at dawn? Could it be a divine encounter, or perhaps a fresh call towards something unimagined? Uncertainty hung like a mist, and Sarah knew the night was not over. Yet will we dare to take that leap? She thought, searching the faces of her companions, sensing that the answer lay within each of them, just waiting to be awakened. As the twilight deepened into an inky blue, the circle around the oak tree seemed to shimmer under the newly sprinkled stars. They glowed, bright against the vastness, like promises hung in the heavens, waiting to be claimed. Sarah felt a stirring of hope, a sense of anticipation weaving through her veins like electric currents. Each heartbeat echoed the collective longing, thrumming with the possibility of transformation. Timothy's fingers curled tighter around hers, anchoring her thoughts. "Do you believe we can stand on the edge of something great?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper, but laced with conviction. "More than ever," Sarah replied, glancing up at the arching sky. The beauty of it all made her heart ache, not from sorrow, but from love, a deep-seated affection that came from knowing they were meant for more. Margaret had not yet finished. With a carefully measured pause, she invited others to share their stories of hardship and triumph. One by one, they opened their hearts, revealing the burdens they carried long and heavy. Each account was a thread, illuminating the tapestry they were weaving together. Sarah listened intently as a young woman. Her voice trembling, spoke of loss and yearning. "I thought I was alone," she admitted, tears glistening like dew on petals. "But here, we are all together. There is strength in this union. I can feel the weight lift." Others nodded, murmurs of agreement forming a sacred chorus, resonating with the truth of shared struggles. With each story told, the circle became a cradle of vulnerability, nurtured by understanding and empathy. Sarah felt the warmth spread within her as a fire ignited in the hearts of those gathered, flickering brightly against the vast darkness. She realized the shadows that had once clouded her vision could now be transformed into stepping stones leading to new beginnings. Then, an unexpected hush fell again as the elderly man stepped forward once more, his wisdom shining like the moon in its fullness. "Life has its boulders," he said, voice rich and soothing, "but often the way forward is not through brute force. Sometimes it's in gentleness, in patience, that we discover the most profound truths." His eyes danced with a light reflecting the evening's energy. "Listen closely," he urged. "The night carries whispers if we will only still ourselves enough to hear them." There was a palpable silence. Sarah felt the words wrap around her like a soft blanket, encouraging stillness within. Slowing her breath, she tuned into the sounds around her, the gentle rustle of leaves, the strumming of the guitar, the heartbeat of the people around her, all entwined in sacred communion. In that moment, Sarah thought, how easy it is to forget the whispers when the world pulls us in so many directions. The call to action danced in her thoughts, begging to be recognized. She wondered, could they reach a depth of faith that transformed fear into courage? As the cool night air wrapped around them, the stars began to shimmer more brightly, as if in agreement. Timothy glanced at her and said, "What if tomorrow is the day we learn to walk beyond the stones and truly see the treasures?" Sarah's heart pounded with expectancy. "What will it take?" she mused, glancing back toward the horizon where the dawn would soon break. What awaited them at sunrise? Could the treasures they sought lie not just in dreams, but in tangible acts of love and community? As the night deepened, so did Sarah's resolve. There was much to discover, much to trust. Would this circle of souls be ready to step into the promise of a new dawn? Would they rise together to embrace the miracle waiting to unfold? The air thickened with potential, and Sarah sensed a shift. A deeper calling lingering just out of reach. The moon began to glow brighter, casting a soothing light. And amidst that sweetness, they quietly wondered, would they have the courage to chase the light and follow where it leads? As the first tendrils of dawn began to brush away the indigo night, a silvery haze settled over the land, bathing it in ethereal light. The oak tree stood tall, its substantial silhouette now anointed with the golden hues of morning. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill her lungs, awakening her senses to the possibilities stretched out ahead. Timothy shifted beside her, his eyes reflecting the early sun. "It feels like the world just took a collective breath," he said, a hint of reverence in his voice. Sarah nodded, allowing the stillness of the moment to seep into her soul. Today was different. She could feel it in every fiber of her being. Margaret stood at the center of the circle, her presence commanding yet gentle, anticipating the hearts of those around her. Today, she proclaimed, her voice resonant and clear, "We step into our calling. No longer will we linger in shadows, but instead embrace the light that seeks to guide us." The others stirred, a mix of anticipation and uncertainty flickering across their faces. As they gathered closer, Sarah could sense a rhythmic heartbeat, the pulse of collective hope connecting them. It was palpable, like electricity sparking in the air. One by one, they began to share their visions for the day. "I dream of planting seeds of kindness," said a middle-aged woman with a gentle smile. "Simple acts that may change lives." A young man spoke of reconciliation, of healing the rifts that had formed in his family. Each intention became a thread woven into the fabric of their shared purpose. As the sun climbed higher, its rays pierced through the branches above, casting dapples of light that danced on the ground. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, allowing the warmth to wash over her, touching parts of her heart that had long felt cold and worn. Renewed by this illumination, she whispered a quiet prayer. "Lord, guide us. Help us to see the path you've laid before us. Fill us with courage and love." A wave of silence enveloped them, a sacred pause deepened by mutual yearning. In that stillness, Sarah felt the ground swell beneath her feet, as if the earth itself was responding to their call, urging them to take the next step. Timothy reached for her hand again, a comforting anchor. "What if we combined our strengths?" he suggested. "Imagine what we could achieve as one." His words echoed in the hearts of those gathered, igniting a collective spark. The elderly man spoke once more. "In every act of love, there lies a piece of divinity. Today is a canvas. Let us paint it with the colors of our heart's longing." With this truth ringing in their ears, a collective commitment blossomed. Sarah felt a whirlwind of possibility swirl within her. They could become beacons of light to those lost in darkness, reflections of grace amidst trials. What would it mean to fully step into this calling? As the sun steadily rose, illuminating their faces, a rustle in the trees drew their attention. A magnificent bird took flight, soaring high above them, gliding effortlessly toward the horizon. Its wings spread wide, embodying freedom and purpose. "Look!" shouted one of the onlookers, pointing skyward. The sight was breathtaking. "It symbolizes our journey. We too can rise." In that moment, the air became charged with more than hope. It was conviction, a deep, rooting sense of purpose that urged them forward. They felt integrated, like strands of gold woven into a beautiful tapestry. "Let us not fear the stillness," Timothy added, voice imbued with trust, but rather let it guide us. Each pause is an invitation, each heartbeat a reminder of our divine connection. As they took their first steps into the warmth of the new day, the path ahead was still unknown. Yet for the first time, Sarah felt ready to embrace it. What awaited them along this journey? Would they truly find the treasures laid before them? A fluttering wind blew through the branches, whispering secrets of possibility. What would the day unfold? Would they truly step into their divine calling together, or would fear once again hold them back? The questions lingered in the air, heavy with promise, as sunlight cascaded over all that was yet to come. The dawn broke gloriously over Elderwood, bringing golden light that cradled the village in warmth, like an embrace from the heavens. Sarah stood at the threshold of change, breathing in the new day's promise. All around her, the villagers pulsated with enthusiasm and hope, their energy igniting her heart with expectancy. Today is the day we answer our call. Margaret's voice rang clear above the morning chorus of chirping birds. The gathered crowd shifted, energized by her conviction. Sarah felt the collective heartbeat thrum through the air, everyone anticipating the tasks ahead. Timothy beamed at her, determination sparkling like sunlight in his eyes. Here we are, united. Together, we can weave an even greater miracle than we've already experienced. The words resonated, nourishing a sense of purpose in Sarah's spirit. This wasn't merely a celebration of the moon's blessing. It was a mission to create lasting change. As they organized into teams, each voice rang with excitement. The children wanted games, the elders shared wisdom, and musicians grabbed their instruments, ready to create a day immersed in joy and love. The oak tree stood sturdy at the heart of it all, a witness to their plans, a symbol of resilience and strength. Let us begin with service, Sarah suggested. What if we prepare care packages for those who couldn't join us today? We can deliver them filled with food, love, and stories of faith, reminding our neighbors they are never alone. An elder nodded. Kindness and shared faith are the soil for miracles to grow. Let us include notes of encouragement. They split up, laughter mingling with purpose as they crafted thoughtful gifts. As she penned her words in the note, Sarah's heart overflowed with gratitude. You are loved. You are valued. You are part of this community, she wrote. It felt more than an act. It was an offering, a testament to the goodness they all wanted to share. As the sun rose even higher, the villagers dispersed, their spirits buoyed by hope. Sarah joined Timothy, ready to make their rounds. Deeper than the smiles exchanged, they ignited a spark of warmth wherever they traveled, bringing love into the homes of those who had been longing for connection. At one doorstep, a frail woman opened the door, her eyes shimmering with disbelief. As they handed her a package, Sarah said, "We want you to feel the love from our hearts to yours." The tears of joy that brimmed in the woman's eyes spoke more than words could convey. A stirring ripple of gratitude washed over Sarah. Further down the street, they met a young mother struggling to balance her children and the duties of home. Their hands offered guidance, and moments of connection lightened her burden. A mutual exchange of kindness blossomed, transforming the small village into a sanctuary of love. As they moved from house to house, whispers of change spread through Elderwood like wildfire. Sarah and Timothy witnessed hearts opening, compassion flowing, and love becoming palpable in every shared moment. What once felt insurmountable now transformed into something sacred. By midday, it had become clear the warmth of community sparked miracles they only dared to dream of. A young boy approached with his mother. "Can we help too?" he asked, eager to become part of this beautiful tapestry of faith. Sarah's heart soared. "Absolutely. Together, we'll weave something even more beautiful." Filled with energy, they gathered at the village square again. The oak tree stood watch, its branches framing their mission. Margaret took the lead again, her gentle voice amplifying the message. "Today, we fulfill our sacred calling. We are here to serve, love, and grow together." The villagers stood in awe, eyes shining with a newfound hope that enveloped them like a warm blanket. This was not just a moment. It was the beginning of something they had long yearned for: community unity. As evening approached, Sarah felt as if the sky painted itself with strokes of gold, embracing them in a divine blessing. Timothy took hold of her hands, their fingers intertwined, sensing the very pulse of their connection as they looked toward the horizon. "What if we continue this? What if we make this a part of who we are?" he asked, heart brimming with excitement. With tears illuminating her face, Sarah nodded. "Yes, we can form a renewed spirit here in Elderwood, embracing faith in our everyday lives." The crowd erupted into cheers, a chorus of voices shining brighter than the setting sun. They didn't just strive to witness miracles. They became the living vessels of love, making the divine manifest right before their eyes. As the final light glimmered, Sarah felt something profound unfold within her, a shift, a divine awakening. They were no longer uncertain. They had claimed their calling as a village bound by faith, ready to challenge the darkness together, to face every storm as one. Sarah lifted her gaze to the radiant sky, where the last rays danced playfully among the clouds. She breathed deep, feeling the boundless joy fanning through her spirit. "This is just the beginning," she declared, her voice a vibrant echo. And so, Elderwood embraced its new path, faith renewed, hearts united, and love pouring forth like the morning sun. Each villager carried an ember within, ready to ignite the world. As they mirrored divine love, it became their legacy. Sparks turned to flames, illuminating lives beyond their own, fulfilling their divine calling together. In this moment, as belief transcended doubt, they were left with one undeniable truth. When we open our hearts, miracles unfold. If you felt the energy in this story, you need to subscribe now. Don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that will uplift your spirit. It's your moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach others with these divine messages. Comment your reactions and testimonies below about how this story impacted you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this manifestation. Don't wait even one more second. Only true servants of God understand the power of spreading this beautiful journey of hope and faith. Let us shine together.